So before the video begins, I just want to say a couple of things. As always, this isn't like a plug for Raid Shadow Legends or anything. I'm not adverting you here. I just want to make a note so you all are aware of what this video is and what will be going on in it. So essentially, I'm just going to be reading some like scary stories from Reddit, like the subreddit known as Let's Not Meet or No Sleep. And the reason why I'm doing so is because I thought it'd be an interesting idea. I mean, that's really all. I thought it'd be cool. So this will not be a gaming video. Not that the gaming videos will go away, but I just wanted to branch out, try a few things. I know some of you might not like this, and this may bring some new people to the channel. But all in all, I just want to say if this isn't something you're comfortable with, there's going to be talks about stalking and invasion and like potential kidnappings. If that kind of thing you're not comfortable with, I would suggest checking out a different video or just not watching the video in general. There's not really much else I could say about that. But all in all, I hope you guys enjoy the video. Bye. This happened when I was around 12. By that time, my parents got divorced and I lived with my mother, who had some pretty wild theories about my father. One day, we went to a bookstore with my two brothers. I already knew which book I wanted to get, so I was the first one to get and buy my book. I then asked my mom if I could go to the car already. She gave me the keys and I went to our car, parked right outside the bookstore on a little parking spot. That parking spot was visible from the main street, since it was a little covered by trees and bushes. I got into the car and started reading my book. About maybe 5 minutes later, a nice car rolled up next to ours, and a man in a nice suit got out. I kind of ignored him, but I could hear that he was on the phone with someone. I heard little pieces of the conversation, but the things I still remember him saying are, "Yes, I got the candy." And of course, he's sitting right next to me. At that point, I got a little scared, because he was standing on my side of the car next to my door, and there was no one else in his car or even on the parking lot. I don't remember if I locked the door or not, but after a few minutes, he hung up and turned to me. "Do you want some sweets? Open the door and I could give you some." He held up a pack of something, maybe Haribo or something. I don't remember exactly. "No, I'm fine, thank you." "Are you sure?" He didn't try to enter forcefully. He sounded pretty nice and polite. I think at that point my mom got out of the bookstore, because he left pretty much instantly. My mom didn't see any of what happened and asked me the regular, "Everything okay?" I told her what had just happened, and she was shocked, but other than that, I never saw him again, or had anything like this happen. This happened to me, a 23-year-old female, and to a good friend, Jenny, I had when we were both in high school. So, approximately 6 years ago. We were 16, and we loved drinking and smoking. Since we were underage, we had spent quite a few nights standing next to a convenience store, waiting for an adult stranger who agrees to buy us something to drink, and cigarettes, with our own money, of course. The store is in a pretty trafficked part of our town. A lot of people coming in and out of cars, buses, and pedestrians. Also, we live in such a safe city, little to no crime. We can walk at nights at 3 a.m. without having to worry too much. I remember this one time, where Jenny and I walked to the store to try and buy cigarettes. It wasn't too late in the evening. when we succeeded and sat on a bench next to the store for a smoke. When a strange man looks at us, parks his car, and exits the driver's seat to open all of his car doors and stand there, weirdly staring at us at different parts of his car, at the floor. He looked like he was in his late 50s, frizzy white hair and eyes that look extremely unaware, but not frantic or anything. Now, I don't know if most girls are like this. I know I'm not, and my logic says that we shouldn't be like this for the most part. But I seem to attract girls who are very engaging when a person who screams stranger danger approaches them. Creeps, weirdos, and men who just awkwardly disturb us just to hit on one of us even though none of us is interested. Somehow every good girl friend I've had this weird, annoying, and may I say unsafe habit to entertain these harassers. The man felt incredibly off to me, and I remember Jenny looking at him, then me, in a confused look when he walked towards us. A few meters from his car, with all of his car doors still open. He stood like 2 meters from us and about a meter from his car, and started babbling monologue about how he lost his phone inside his car, and so he thinks. Perhaps underneath the seat. My heart is beating fast just from thinking about this. He didn't give us a second to respond before asking us to look for it for him. Jenny stands up and starts walking to his car. I don't know much about cars. It was an old gray standard vehicle, not a van or anything. But I yelled, "Jen, what the hell are you doing? Don't go inside a strange man's car." The man noticed my distraught, and Jenny says, "I'm not going inside his car. I'm just looking from the outside with a flash camera." He says, "No, please just look inside to find it." She put maybe one foot inside, but I gave her a look and tried to entertain the situation, and mostly him, so he wouldn't notice that she is inside his car behind him. So I asked the man, "Why do you think your phone is underneath the seat?" "I was driving here and heard it ring from somewhere inside the car when my daughter called me. I thought it might be inside my pocket." "And it isn't? How would you know it's your daughter if you lost it?" "No, it might be in my pocket. Don't know." "Can you check?" Walks a little closer to me. He had a confused look, like he sincerely didn't know where his phone is, like he's a child. "No. Why would I check your pocket? You're a grown man. Check it yourself." By this time, Jenny comes back to stand near me as the man is a complete weirdo and is scaring me. As he continues to ask and beg us to check inside his car, I tell him no, and I can call his number for him to see where the ring is coming from. The man says he is out of battery, so it wouldn't help. Keeps asking us to basically crawl to his back seat. Thank God for extreme situational alertness while in situations of stress, because the next thing I said may have saved Jenny, who was completely engaging and stood next to his car for a long while. "You said your daughter just called you, and that you heard it from inside the car. And if you didn't find the phone since then you have no way of knowing the status of your battery. And if you did, then you are harassing us, and we are leaving. Good luck finding your phone inside your pockets yourself." Now, revisiting this story, I'm aware that there could be reasonable explanations as to all of this that could contradict this whole creep guy narrative. Maybe he's too old to bend over to look for his phone. Maybe this was an emergency and that's why he's so incoherent and anxious to find his phone. Maybe he's out of battery, and his speakerphone in his car passed his daughter's next phone call over to the car's system. But nothing I can think of can explain him being so stubborn with wanting us inside the car. So whatever reasons that can make this story less creepy will not stand given the creepy vibe this guy had. Sir, I hope you found your phone, but let's not meet again. This is a story about a man named John that I met while working retail. John is an older white man, his mid-50s, well-dressed, well-spoken, shoulder-length steel gray hair and a low ponytail tied back. At the time, I was working at a farm and pet supply store. I was called over to help a customer look at electric fences and shock collars for dogs, which I am steadfastly against, but I had to help the customer. I asked him what I could help him with, and he said he was interested in an electric fence for his dogs, since he had a cabin in the woods and wanted to make sure they didn't get away. He said, "Oh yes, I'm looking to use this shock collar, maybe on you." Thoroughly creeped out, I tried to laugh it off and tell him no thank you. I finally got him someone who knew more than I did and thought that would be the end of it. Of course it wasn't. The next time he saw me, he said, "I've been looking for you. I bought what I wanted. It didn't know what you said, and I wanted to slap you the next time I saw you." I told him if he ever hit me, I'd absolutely hit him back. So then a few days later, he told me he would really, really like to take me out to lunch one day. I politely declined. He would come into the store and look for me, see him before he saw me. One day I saw him first. I hid until I thought he'd left, but no. He found me back in my department. He said, "Just so you know, I'm not dressed up for you today. I have a meeting with the bank, but if I didn't, I'd be taking you out for lunch. You know, I can tell you dyed your hair. You look so beautiful. But that doesn't mean anything to you, does it? It might mean something if you liked me back." He was never banned from the store, even after one of my managers heard him say these things to me. But my coworkers would tell me when he was in the store and help me get away from him until he left. I haven't seen him since I quit, and I am so thankful. This story is by far not as crazy as the other stories on here, but I think it fits. This happened several years ago, I think 2009 or 2010. One summer evening, I hung out with girlfriend for the day at her house. I ended up leaving around 10 or 11 p.m., so it was quite dark out. Before I drove off, though, my girlfriend hung out with me in my car for a few minutes. Now, my car was an early 90s Dodge or Pontiac sedan. It did not have automatic locks. When my girlfriend stepped out of my car, she did not lock the door again. I drove off, and instead of taking the back road home like I usually did, I decided to take the main road. Since it was late, there wasn't many cars out. However, there was a lady standing next to a bus stop. She was pacing around in a circle. I got the sense that she was anxious or nervous about something. When she saw my car, she flagged me down. I pulled over and reached over to roll down the window. No automatic windows either. That's when I noticed the door wasn't locked, and before I could do anything, the lady opened up the passenger door and took a seat. I was surprised by this, but didn't feel like this lady was a threat. She was white, blonde hair, and probably in her late 30s or early 40s. I ask her if she's okay or if she needs help. She tells me that she's just trying to get home, but her phone died, so she couldn't get a hold of anyone. She also said she missed the last bus. This sounded plausible to me, and since she didn't seem threatening and she was already in my car, I offered to drive her home. I start driving up the main road and ask her for directions to her place. We drove for maybe 2 minutes when she told me to turn into a residential neighborhood. As we're driving through here, she started talking to me non-stop. "Thank you so much for stopping. Not everyone is as nice as you. You're real cute, you know that? Your car is super awesome too." I replied with a weak, yeah, thanks. She went on. "It's so nice to find someone who's so trusting this late at night. I like trusting people. At that point, we came to a stop sign, so I looked left and then right. When I turned to the right, she gave me a creepy smile, like an ear-to-ear Joker type of smile. I also noticed for the first time that her pupils were very dilated and darting around all over the place. At this point, I finally started to realize that picking up a strange woman late at night who may be on drugs perhaps was not the best idea. I started to think of ways to get her out of the car, but I also didn't want to be rude. I know, I was young and dumb. Before I could think of anything, though, she asked me for my phone so she could give her friend a call and let them know that she was coming home. I sheepishly lied to her and said I didn't have a phone. I was then struck with a feeling of dread because my phone's ringer was set to loud and any notification or message would reveal my lie. Just my luck, a moment later, someone texted me and my phone went off. I thought you didn't have a phone. Oh, I forgot that I had it. I thought I left it at home. I don't appreciate being lied to. She trailed off, as if she had more to say. I started to get really nervous at this point. We were deep in this neighborhood, but it was really dark. I needed to get this lady out, now. She then points up the road and tells me to take a right at the next stop sign. The road curved a bit, so from where I was, I could see that there was a dead-end sign. For whatever reason, the thought of turning onto this dead-end street terrified me. I then had an idea. Right before we got to the stop sign, I pulled over and told the lady that my car was making a funny noise and the temperature gauge was slowly going up. I turned off my car and popped my trunk. I told her I was grabbing a flashlight from the trunk and if she could step out and hold the light for me while I looked at the engine. I got out of the car. I looked back at her and she looked both mad and annoyed, but she also stepped out. I went to my trunk and rummaged through the things I had there for a few seconds. My flashlight was right in front of me, but I needed to be sure that she was standing in front of the car. Once she was there, I closed my trunk and started walking to the front of my car with my flashlight. My heart was pounding, but I knew I had to keep my voice steady. I gave her the flashlight and then said something like, "Oops, I forgot to pop open the hood. Let me do that real quick." I got back in my car, and I did pop my hood. At the same time, though, I turned the car back on and threw it into reverse. The lady just stood there, staring at me. Once I had enough distance, I put the car back in drive and drove straight past her. She was standing near a street light, so I got one last good look at her. I noticed she was holding a knife of some sorts in her hand. There was also a large man that stepped out of the shadows and stood next to her. At first, I thought she might be getting attacked, but then they walked away together. I know, this was 100% my fault. It was stupid of me to let her get in my car, and even stupider for me to agree to drive her home. I don't know why she didn't try to attack me earlier. I don't know if they were looking to simply carjack me or do something else. Despite fully accepting the blame, middle-aged blonde lady, let's not meet again. I was 24 when the love of my life died. She had been my first love, and I had been hers. We met in college. It was a whirlwind of romance filled with beautiful memories, laughter, and the kind of sex you can only dream of. When she died, she left a life unfinished, dreams that will never be fulfilled. She left her friends and family behind. She left me, broken. I'd been traveling, so it'd been a few weeks since the last time I'd seen her. The last time I'd kissed her, smelled her hair, felt her skin on mine. If I'd known what was going to happen, I'd have spent every last second I had left with her. I'd have slept next to her every night. I'd have taken her out dancing every weekend. After the funeral, and over a month of lying in bed, my friends tried to get me back into the real world. They tried to tell me to pick my life back up, but I couldn't when I knew she would never be able to do that. I wanted her back, and I couldn't bear to continue living my life as if the world hadn't stopped spinning. It was exactly 2 months after her passing that she came to me. I woke up to see her standing over my bed, watching me sleep and wearing the clothes she had been cremated in. It's startling to say the least. "Why are you wet?" I'm still unsure why this was the first thing I asked her, but I was half asleep, and at that moment the fact she was dripping puddles onto my carpet seemed the oddest thing about the scenario. She smiled back at me. "You always were so silly." She moved towards me, practically leaning over the bed. "Can I sit down?" I nodded, eyes wide and staring intently into hers. I tried to find anything, an indication that it wasn't her. But the beautiful blue I'd fallen in love with every single day for 2 years stared back at me. "How are you here? You're dead?" "Yes, I am." "Am I dreaming?" She laughed at that gorgeous lilt of a laugh. "Of course you are, Will. And I hate to paraphrase Harry Potter," she smiled. It'd always been her favorite franchise. "But just because it's happening inside your head doesn't mean it isn't real." I wanted to grab her head and kiss her. I wanted to hold her close and never let go. I wanted her to stay with me, locked in an embrace in my bed forever. I wanted to show love to the woman I would never be able to love again. "I think we need to have a chat," she said simply. She lay down next to me in bed and placed her head in the crook of my armpit, just as she had done countless times before. As always, she fit perfectly. "I love you, Will. You're the first person I ever loved. Now you'll be the only person I ever loved." "I thought we were soulmates," I said. It felt stupid saying it out loud, but nothing else could explain how it felt, as if my future had been taken from me in an instant. "Maybe we were, but we'll never know for certain." She looked up at me, smiling sadly. "You'll be the only person I ever loved, but that isn't the same for you. You have your whole life ahead of you. You're going to meet new people, have new experiences. You have to live it." Tears began prickling in my eyes, which soon became sobs. I didn't want to. I didn't want to live a life where she wasn't part of the future I'd imagined. She wouldn't get a future. Why should I? I know it's hard. You're allowed to grieve. You're allowed to feel the world has caved in on you. But not forever. There will be other women, other loves, when you're ready for it. One day you'll feel love so strong, you'll feel like your veins are going to burst open with the power of it. But that's how I felt with you. I choked out between sobs, anguish of living the past 2 months without her flooding through me in a moment. It's how I felt with you too, but I need you to know that when the time comes, it's okay to let yourself feel it again. It's okay to be happy without me. I don't want to let you go," I cried. I wrapped my arms around her shoulders, feeling her body close to mine. My bones had been aching for her for 2 long months, my skin screaming to feel her skin again. She felt exquisite to me. "I'll always be with you, and the love you have for me," she said. The same calming mannerisms had not left her, even in death. But don't let yourself fall apart trying to hold on to something that can never come back. It felt like there was nothing else to say. The tears continued to fall, and she continued to lie in my arms, as if she had never left them at all. "I miss you. I love you." "I love you too. It's time to let the pain of loving me go." I understood now why she was here in life. She was the rock that held me grounded, the source of my happiness. In death, she was the source of all my pain. The reason my skin felt like it would tear itself open to be with her. "Will you stay?" I asked. "For just a little longer."